Hi everyone, it's Sonia. I'm back with another video. This time it is a haul. Digging right in. I got a whole bunch of stuff like piled on both sides, including one thing that I bought like 2 hours ago. I was supposed to be on a book ban since November. Did not happen. Massive disaster on my part in terms of self-control. So I do have 4 books I think that I don't have with me, and I'm just gonna mention them like right off the bat. And these are books that I haven't reviewed in a wrap-up. The books that I don't have with me here that are supposedly part of this haul are Meet Cute by a variety of authors. It is an anthology of diverse meet cutes. Pretty self-explanatory. I took it home because I knew I wasn't going to read it, except for now I'm really craving it. Mistakes. I also got More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. It's his first book. I don't know what it's about. I'm guessing it's 2 boys falling in love, as is typical of Adam Silvera's writing, and really excited to get to it. What else did I get? I got the hardcover of Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, but I did review that in the last video, so I think I'm up to date on books that I don't have with me. And I'm going to go through these in absolutely no particular order, because they're just piled everywhere. So first book I'm hauling is Ink Mistress by Audrey Coulthurst. This is about a young bisexual demigod who lives in the mountains and is the protector of her town, and she's in love with a girl, and there's a dragon. That's as far as I am in the book, as you can see by the flap that I'm using as a bookmark, and that's all I also know about the book. I didn't bother reading the inner flap because I didn't want to know. I just knew it was a queer romance, 2 women falling in love, and I was here to read it. I guess if you do want to know more, I'll link down the Goodreads description in the description box or something. Super excited to finish this. It's already pretty intense and I'm like 49 pages in. Next book that I'm gonna haul, I'm just spoiling myself. Anyways, is The Making of Asian America by Erica Lee. This I got from my roommate. She, I think, bought it for a class, and then they only had to read 1 chapter for it, and she's doing this thing where she's like cleansing her space, and she was about to get rid of a book, and I was not about to let her do that. So here we have this book. I'm guessing it's about the growing Asian American demographic in America, and I'm actually really interested in reading about it because I'm an art history major, but history I feel is really relevant in the making of art history itself. So I feel like this is something to look into, especially if I'm going to go into Asian diaspora, but I think this might be East Asian, not like the entire continent of Asia, because then we're also talking Middle Eastern people, and we know brown people do get left out of a lot of things when it comes to Asia. Okay, next in my haul, I'm going to try to be sneaky about this, is the 10th Anniversary Collector's Edition of The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I have no idea what this is about. I just know the main character's name thanks to Reagan's videos, Caboth. I think he tells it in like a retrospect to retelling kind of thing, where he's an adult and he's telling about his life. I know there's 3 books, the 3rd book is still not out, and the fact that there's only 2 books and it's been 10 years since the first one means it's going to take a long ass time for the next one to come out, which gives me a significant amount of time to read it. But it's sprayed. There are letters on the inside. What are these called? End pages. Living up to my standards of things I'd like to see in books, and it's... Can you see it? A little bit. It's embossed, which is always a fancy surprise. And I think there's no bookmark. Disappointing. There's illustrations though, so that's something. I don't know if I'll get to this. I definitely will have to read this in audiobook because I am getting more and more intimidated by reading massive books in hand. Audiobooks just kind of make it easier to digest content at a faster pace. I read at double speed, which is just I got, I got from a recent visit to the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, where they're having an exhibit on the Jodhpur dynasty things, possessions. There's a lot of clothes, paintings, there's a car and a plane. It was an interesting thing to see. I also had to go sit in on a lecture related to my honors thesis. And so when I was there, I got Tales of India, folk tales from Bengal, Punjab, and Tamil Nadu. These are states in India, and I'm actually super stoked about it. It's really pretty. There's illustrations, and I think the layout is just so nice, and it's got some really fancy patterning, like dividers and end pages, and it's just everything I expect Indian books to live up to. So I'm not upset that I forked a large amount of money on this, but I'm looking forward to getting to this once I have time to get to an actual book. Next book, also related to my thesis, is The Kohinoor, The History of the World's Most Infamous Diamond, The Kohinoor, by William Dalrymple and Anita Anand. I've already started annotating it. I just kind of flip through. If I find a keyword that I need related to my topic, I just flag it. I haven't actually read the entire thing. I've only read 20 pages of it. And it's interesting. It's very dense in terms of content, and it's a detailed history of the Kohinoor as it travels, like from the mines it was found in, or the deities that bestowed it upon the lands, to the Middle East, back to India, and then over to the UK, where it is now embedded in Queen Elizabeth's crown. I bought this because I've been reading the one from school, and I felt like I needed to destroy the book with my handwriting. So we have a copy to deface. Next book that I got is A Girl Like That by Tanaz Bhatena. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation of her last name. So this book is about a young girl who has a bad reputation. I think it's set in Saudi Arabia, so the whole sexism thing is pretty big. She dies in a car crash, and the police are trying to put together her story in retrospect, and it starts to unravel a lot of prejudices directed towards the female population. I think this is going to be a really interesting read. A lot of people have said it's kind of reads like a thriller, which it looks like a contemporary, so I don't know, but either way, I'm really excited to get to it, and I just love seeing brown women on covers. It is the pride and joy of my existence in this day and age. We're just gonna have a whole shelf of brown girls on covers, and it's gonna be glorious. Next book that I got, just because I'm impulsive and have no control when it comes to buying books, is The Price Guide to the Occult by Leslie Walton. This I got because Sprayed Edges doesn't have a dust jacket but is a hardcover and just looks so fancy. So I bought it. Also, Reagan Bruce is pretty convincing when it comes to buying books, so she said it was decent. Her rating, I think, on Goodreads was 4 out of 5 stars, which is always a good sign. So I bought it. I hope I like it. I have no idea what it's about. It's trees start to kill people, is what I'm getting from the summary of this. Next book that I bought is Bygone Badass Broads by Mackenzie Lee. She wrote The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue that came out last year, and this is a non-fiction biography compilation of how many women? 52 women that are not well known in the world. The 3 women who are from India / the general South Asia continent, I definitely know, and I do know a couple others as well. But it's always great to learn more about women across the globe who do great things. And I think there are a couple of queer women on this as well, especially considering the colors of this are the bisexual pride flag, so high expectations for it. I also read a little bit of it, and it's very much in Mackenzie Lee's voice. It doesn't come off as a dry biography bind-up, but it's very much like a conversational talking about great people in the world. So, next book that I bought that I already read, that I reviewed in one of my wrap-ups, is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakrabarti. I got the UK cover for this because it's significantly prettier than the American one, as proven by really fancy end pages and other fancier things. I almost forked a large sum of money for the sprayed edges and the signed copy, but I would have had to pay shipping for that, and also I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I did not think it was worth it to buy that one. But it's a massive book, and I actually like it. Like, in retrospect, the more I think about it, the flaws that I had genuinely just seem like me making a big deal out of smaller things. I tend to do that, and I will admit to that. Liked the premise of it, and I'm looking forward to the next one, but yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It's just super pretty, and I'm glad to have it on my shelf. Can y'all? Yeah, you can see this growing pile here. It's gonna get big. The next book that I bought was the next 3 books. No, let's just do one. The next book that I bought from Barnes & Noble is the Aladdin and the Arabian Nights, Barnes & Noble's collector's edition with gold sprayed edges and some really fancy cover work. I've always known this short story concept to be 1001 Nights, based off the tale of Shahrazad, the queen who was the one queen to not, find herself, who figures out how to not get killed every morning by her psychotic husband. The Renée Audier's The Wrath and the Dawn is actually based off the tale of Shahrazad, and it's a little bit more romantic than the gory original story, or at least the one that I know. And this, I think, is a couple of fancy end papers. This is just like a running theme. It's just some of the bigger stories that are in the 1001 Nights. I don't know why it's called Aladdin and the Arabian Nights. Probably because that's the most popular one thanks to Disney. I'm not really happy about that, but it's pretty. They're not gonna fall, they're just gonna run into the wall, so it'll be fine. Next book that I got, again another Barnes & Noble's collectors, is the Children's Collectibles editions of The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is one of my childhood books, and I am so excited to get it. I was actually looking at a different collector's edition to buy, but this is the one that popped up, so I bought it. Big mistake, but too late. I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to reading it again. It's a classic about a young girl whose parents pass away, and so she goes to live with her uncle, and she starts to figure out a lot of dark secrets about his family and the running of that household. It's not as dark as you think. There's a lot of traveling through gardens and her regaining her health after being a really scrawny, underfed child. It's really beautiful. I like the story a lot. There's a movie that's also pretty great. This is actually the first book that I remember really, really badly wanting to read, and when I got it from the Crossroads back in India, the guy was really shocked that I, like a 7 or 8-year-old, really wanted to. No, I wasn't that young. 2nd grade. How old is one in the 2nd grade? The guy who sold us this book was really shocked, and so my mom read it first, and I guess she liked it, so she let me read it. Glad I have a proper copy. The one that I have at home is like yellowed, and it was glue bound, so the pages are falling out, and like I had to tape them back in, so like nothing fits perfectly. It's a well-loved copy, but I wanted a nice, fancy one. Next book that I'm going to haul is Heidi by... Oh, I did not know the author of Heidi. Heidi by Joanna Spyri. I really should look these things up, but I just impulsively film videos, so I never prepare. Anyways, Heidi is another one of those children's books that I really loved. Never read the books, actually. I only remember seeing like the cartoon that would play in India. I'm not sure, but in retrospect, I think the cartoon was like a Studio Ghibli adaptation, or at least the drawing style was very similar to that, and it was played out in episodes and not a whole movie. I really actually want to get to reading this because I don't think I've ever read it. I've said that already. Anyways, next book that I got is an ARC from Penguin Teen, and it's Boots on the Ground, America's War in Vietnam by Elizabeth Partridge. This is a nonfiction, obviously. It's got a couple of accounts of people who fought in the Vietnam War, people who lived through the war and came as refugees, and then a nurse as well, plus the author's personal accounts of being a young teen in America during those times. And I'm like 15 pages in. It's interesting. It's a little dry, definitely out of my typical reading genre, but I really wanted to get to it. Something's in my arm. Okay, last book that I'm going to haul is this mammoth. It's very heavy. Harry Potter, Page to Screen, the complete filmmaking journey. It's got big ass illustration. Ooh, I opened to a great spread. It's the Death Eater masks, but it's got lots of photos and illustrations from the movie, and I'm just really happy I got this. I went to a used bookstore, library recycled bookstore. So these are books from the public library in my city, and I bought it for $10, and I checked the original price, which is $75. And I know it's very beat up, but like, I'm not gonna let this one go. Harry Potter is my life. Despite J.K. Rowling being in some hot water right now, but $10. Would never have bought this otherwise.